Let's go! Happy Thanksgiving to PHL Nation. I'm thankful for you all. But let's be honest, it's a little bit of a nerve-wracking Thanksgiving with all these coaches coming off the board, including a very popular candidate in DAVE ARANDA. Of course, he gets this reported extension, and then the same is true for MEL TUCKER and James Franklin, and pretty much every head coach you can think of, including Jimbo before the season. So, it's starting to look more and more unlikely that one of these candidates will take this job. But then, of course, you have the biggest name of them all that's been attached to the LSU job, which is Lincoln Riley. Now, I've said this from the get-go that Lincoln Riley has been my number one candidate. So, full disclosure, right when the job opened, Lane Kiffin was my number one guy, but part of the reason why I didn't have Lincoln Riley high on my list is because I thought it would be very unlikely that he would even think about taking this LSU job. But a few days later, I decided to just say, look, maybe Lincoln Riley, who is a younger guy at the age of 38, would actually make this move to Baton Rouge. And then I quickly changed tune. I said Lane Kiffin was my number two candidate, and Lincoln Riley was my number one. Now, never did I actually think this would gain legs. And we did this video where I wondered aloud if Scott Woodward, and I basically said Scott Woodward should do this, offer Lincoln Riley a $10 to $12 million contract and see what he does. And, of course, the report came out a few weeks after the fact. J-Boy said that there is an offer out there for Lincoln Riley for the LSU job. And the reason why I think that's very important is because that is the only offer with numbers and specific details that we've heard about with any candidate regarding this LSU job. Now, am I here to share with you that Lincoln Riley is going to be the next head coach at LSU? I've always said this. I am not an insider. I don't have a whole lot of inside information. I do have sources, and it is interesting that we've gotten to this point. And look, if Lincoln Riley actually does end up taking this LSU job, I would be thrilled because this was what I've wanted from the get-go. Now, look, I still don't think this would be the best Thanksgiving ever if it did happen. I still don't think Lincoln Riley's going to take this job. I really don't. Going from Oklahoma to LSU just seems a little too lateral. But, of course, if you are offered $12 million compared to your current salary, which is pretty good, but that's a pretty substantial raise. I hope Lincoln Riley does it. I hope, the 10 to 12 million, whatever the numbers actually is. God, that would be a pretty unprecedented thing in college football. So, look, if you are a Lincoln Riley fan, there is one thing you really want to happen this weekend. Bedlam! I'm a man. I'm 40. Mike Gundy could come to LSU's rescue here. So, the best I understand it, if Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State, they will rematch Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title game next week. Or Oklahoma, if Baylor is to lose to Texas Tech, Baylor and Texas Tech plays at 11 in the morning on Saturday, and Bedlam is obviously later in the day. If Baylor is to lose, Oklahoma is automatically in the Big 12 championship game, regardless of the outcome on Saturday. So it's kind of a weird scenario in the Big 12. Now, if you are a Dave Aranda fan, you kind of hope he does beat Texas Tech. They are 14-point favorites, by the way, over the Red Raiders, who ironically hired Dave Aranda's top assistant to be their next head coach. But still, you want Dave Aranda to win on Saturday, and you want Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley to lose, because obviously that would make things clearer for Lincoln Riley. If he was to accept the LSU opening, it makes it a little bit easier for him to do so. Now, I've heard a lot of different things regarding Lincoln Riley's interest in LSU. Once again, I am not an insider. I do get inside information from time to time, and I do believe this is a little bit closer than one could think. But here's the thing. Lincoln Riley could always say, I want to stay in Oklahoma. I mean, he does have top 10 recruiting classes for not only this coming year, more than likely, the next year. He is by far the best 2023 class, and it's very, very early with that, but still it's really impressive. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for him to stay, but to go to LSU, I do think it's a higher ceiling job and more money. So, you're cheering for Mike Gundy this weekend if you want Lincoln Riley to be the next LSU head coach. Once again, Oklahoma State, a 4-point favorite in this one. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to see it. I mean, I don't even know why the Big 12 has a championship game, because everyone plays each other. So they used to not have one, but of course, because of the college football playoff, they decided to add one, plus it's more money for everyone. But still, when you play everybody and you have this conference championship game, you always have a weird rematch. But still, we'll see what happens. Now, here's the interesting thing, is that a lot of you don't like Lincoln Riley as the next head coach for LSU. It costs too much money, and he's not won a playoff game. Those are the two things I keep hearing, and none of those excuses make sense. The first thing is there's no salary cap when it comes to coaches, and you aren't the one paying the salary. So I don't know why it is skin off your back. And the number two thing, he hasn't won a playoff game. While that is true, two of his playoff losses were to LSU, the greatest team of all time, and another was against one of Nick Saban's great Alabama Tua Tagovailoa teams, and his defense was just garbage in that game. So, you know, things that are out of his control. Now, the Georgia game was, I mean, he could have done better in that one, but still, that was a really good team he lost to. I mean, I love Lincoln Riley. I don't know how you can with the offenses that he puts out on the field. But, of course, each and every one of you have your own opinion on this matter. Now, let's just say Lincoln Riley says no. I don't think the Billy Napier thing is going to happen. I know a lot of you are big on Napier. I like Billy Napier a lot. And the good news is I did a really deep dive on not only Billy Napier, but Jimbo Fisher. And if you want to watch those, I will link them down below. But I don't think Billy Napier is a realistic option at this point, and I do think the more likely scenario is Billy Napier staying in Lafayette or packing his bags and going to Gainesville, as Florida is very interested in Billy Napier. And Billy's got a lot of strengths. He's got one major weakness, though, but if you want to see what that is, I don't want to talk too much about Napier. I'll link that video down below, or it'll be floating in your face in just a moment. Now, something else regarding this coaching search. There are some other names that are attached and have been rumored to this job. Obviously, some fallbacks include a guy like Mark Stoops at Kentucky. Another name that I've heard is Bill O'Brien at Alabama. Matt Campbell is still out there. So I could see any one of those three names potentially being the next LSU coach. The name I like the most out of that group is Matt Campbell. Not really understanding the Mark Stoops logic, especially when the offensive side of the ball needs a lot of work. And the Bill O'Brien thing, not on fire about it. But still, this is a question I've been getting a lot of. Is it Lincoln Riley or bust right now? And the answer is kind of hard to say. I do think, though, with all these extensions, especially with DAVE ARANDA, it does dwindle things down a lot. And let's not forget, there is the USC opening and, of course, the Florida opening, and to a lesser extent, the Virginia Tech opening. So there are a bunch of other openings that are also trying to get their next home run coach, and those are things you do have to keep in mind. So, look, obviously a question that we brought up in the Billy Napier deep dive is, does Scott Woodward already have his guy? Well, I think he has an idea of what he wants to do. I don't think Woodward, who is known for his organization, is going into this weekend in a panic mode. If I were to best guess this scenario, I do think Lincoln Riley is his guy. It's going to come down to what Lincoln Riley wants to do. And then after that, who would be the next most likely candidate? I would say it's either Campbell or Stoops after that. And I know neither one of those names excites you. Trust me, you should see my inbox. But that's how I feel at this moment. Boom! I know we're all guessing up to this point. I have got a lot of messages regarding my initial Lincoln Riley deep dive. If I had, because, the $12 million report came out, and we did have $12 million attached to Lincoln Riley's name way earlier in the process. I'll address that in our halftime and post-game live stream for the Texas A&M game. We still got a game to play. We still got a bowl to get to. So make sure you're looking out for that. Have a happy Thanksgiving. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom! Oh, we're doing lasagna tonight. Let's go. Kidding. We're doing turkey stuffing. But Thanksgiving food is overrated. You know it is.